It's been tough for me to find silver lately, but today my silver dealer called me and said, Rob, I've got a lot of silver if you want some. How much do you want? I want it all. Hey everybody, it's Rob with RobFindsTreasure, and I know this is an obscene amount of silver. But I have been running lower and lower and lower on silver for my streams and in my own stack. And so finally, my silver dealer said, Rob, I've got a lot, and I couldn't help myself. Charlani is going to kill me, but I had to buy all this silver. There's half dollars, quarters, there's generic rounds, there's 40%ers, there's even a couple of 10-ounce hand-poured Anglehards. I do love these things. I had 2 in my collection, and when he said he had 2 more, I had to get them. I don't know really what's in here, and to be honest, my silver dealer assured me that he hasn't even cherry-picked any of this. He said he basically got it in, let me know he had it, bagged it up, and I bought it. So in order to not have such a long episode of us just looking at a bunch of silver, I thought the first thing I would do is pull out all the 40s, all the half dollars, all the Anglehard stuff, the generic rounds that I'll be using as well. And we'll just get a bird's eye view at that. The biggest chunk of silver in this bag is Merc Dimes. There's like 3,000 of them. 3,000 Merc Dimes. Let me get this bag open. Let me pull out the miscellaneous stuff. We'll take a look at it. We'll keep the Mercs bagged up for now until we can get to them. So I went ahead and segregated all of the other silver I bought from the dimes. And I'll tell you, when I was going through the dimes, I did notice there's quite a few barber dimes in there. But let me go ahead and show you what we got in addition to the dimes. We got a couple of walking liberties, pretty much your average circulation, no key dates or better dates. We did get a couple of Benjis, I guess 3 of them, and a stack of 64 Kennedys, which you know I'm going to check for the DDO varieties. Now, I was pretty excited to get a couple of packaged, uncirculated Ben Franklin half dollars. Now, they're both 1963, but still really cool. And I even saw a 64 Kennedy half dollar from Denver, uncirculated. That's nice. We got a couple of stacks of quarters, and if you add in the 3 that are in these uncirculated packages as well, we have over $10 face. There's 2 64s and a 63. I checked all the dates. There's nothing here to get excited about other than it's 90% constitutional silver, which I love. Now back here we have a little bit of 40%ers. Hadn't even looked at those, don't need to. And then we also have 20 generic rounds. I'll be using these to make some more RFT bars that I'll show you here in a second. The other things I purchased were 2 serial numbered Anglehard hand-poured bars, or I guess poured bars if you will. And there's the serial numbers right there. Super excited to have these. I do love stacking them. I have 2 pristine sequential ones that I've always had in my stack. I only had 2 of these before, and now we just doubled it for 4. Super excited to get those, and I get to add it next to my RFT bar number 1. That's over 10 ounces, which is basically in the same likeness, a little bit bigger than these ones, but cool nonetheless. As far as miscellaneous finds, I did find an 1899 Barber half dollar. In G4 condition, it fetches $20 to $25, and I think this has probably been cleaned over the years. It's got some dings and scuff marks and you name it, but I've seen worse. 18990, I'll take it. Paying junk price for it any day of the week, I'll definitely take it. We got a really slick 1900 O. You probably can't even see the O. There you go. Now you can see it. Barely hanging on there. 1900 O. Pretty trashy. The find of the batch is this scratched up, probably polished at one point, but it is an 1858 O half dollar with not that terrible of detail. Man, it's a shame it's been polished or cleaned or whatever it's been, but it's got decent detail. Probably VG detail on the reverse and G4 detail on the obverse. I mean, even in G4 condition, it's a $50 half dollar. Either way, I find them a lot slicker than this normally in my buys, And I was pleasantly surprised that this one at least had a legible date and pretty good details on the back. We'll take that all day. That was a nice surprise. Now that we've done that, the real purpose of this video is to go through, I believe, about 3,000 dimes. How I'm going to attack this hunt is I'm going to pull out all of the nicer dimes that are in here, and I'll give you an example of one. Anything that's in a little bit better shape, I'll put to the side. Anything that is a barber, I'll set aside. And of course, I'll be checking for those 21s, a 16D, or even some 26s, because there's some better dates in 1926 as well. So it'll be a few different stacks. I will be pulling out all of the 1942s, because I do want to check for the 42 or 41s. We might have one in there. I don't have one in my collection. Let me clear these away and get those sorted. Figured I'd bring you in. I think we're getting close to halfway through the dimes in this bin. I've got my 20s in this cup, and that's a lot of 20s. My 30s in here, not as many 30s, and of course, a lot of 40s. Up here, I got my teens. I've got my better coins for the 20s, 30s, and 40s as well. And then a stack of barbers are getting up here, but I've got that project ahead. And yes, these are some dirty dimes. All right, time to wash my hands, do a back stretch, and get back to the sort. So we're still working on this stack of dimes, and I've got that much to go. And I've got some good side finds, which we'll talk about once I'm finished doing this. But I want to show you something, and I need your guys' help. This is a 1916, and it's a no-doubter 1916. You can clearly see that. And of course, like most 1916s, when you buy them in the junk bins, you will usually not see a mint mark. And if you do, it's going to be likely an S or, of course, the no mint mark. So when I flip this around on these worn ones, I always examine the rims. Now, typically there is damage on these, and you never really can tell if it is a mint mark or your eyes are playing tricks. But I do want to show it at another angle. You can see some raised elements. Now that I've done that, I want to put it under the scope and show you what I'm talking about. Is it me? Or is that possibly a D? Now, it could just be damage with some pitting, and it's conveniently placed where a D mint mark would be on this 1916. But stay with me for a second. Let me grab this 1926 and flip it over so you can see the D mint mark. Right there. 1926D. Now let me grab my coin in question and try to line it up in the exact same way. The bottom one is the 26D, and the top one is the one in question. If you look at the placement of the D mint mark in relation to the branch and the leaves and the E for 1 dime, and you take a look at what I'm looking at here, could it very well just be coincidence? Could it just be coincidence? Or could I possibly have found a 1916D? Man, I don't know. It could just be some perfectly placed pitting. Or is it possibly a 1916D with some wear? All right, let me get back to the hunt. I'll definitely keep this aside. Don't want to toss it back and not pay attention to it, but give me your thoughts down below. My gut is saying it's not. My heart is saying it could be. Let's get back to the massive sort. Well, we have done it. 3 hours, and we've sorted all the dimes. These are the teens here. Look at that jar of 20s Merc dimes. Holy cow. I use this cup for my copper, and it's almost full of just 20s Mercs. That's the 30s. I expected more 30s, even though the 30s, they produced less due to the Depression years and some of the mints not striking dimes. I still thought I would see more because in my typical junk silver purchases, I get mostly 40s and 30s. So that's a good sign that we didn't have that many. Of course, you're going to get a lot of 40s, and I inspected every single 42 in here. It didn't matter whether it was PD or S. I just checked for the 2/1. Obviously, the Philly and the Denver are the two you look for, but to save time, I just put every 42 under the scope, hoping to catch a 42/41. We didn't catch them. It happens. Still a fun time going through them all. As far as on the board, I kept the nicest 1916 Philadelphia that I found. Pretty good example. A 1916 that we don't know for sure whether it's a Denver or not. You guys have seen it. My heart wants it to be. My mind saying it's not. I won't give you any more close-ups. You've seen it. And then the nicest 1916S, which isn't that great, but the nicest of the bunch. I also pulled out the nicest PD and S from 1926. 1926 is a better date. There's a little remnant of a top of an S on this one. That's about it. Just wanted to pull the nicest of those since they're a little bit better dates. As far as the other coins are concerned, I do need a better 23, so I pulled that one out. And if I recall, this one is a 23p. I do need a better 1928S, so I'll check it against the album. It may not upgrade. A 1929 Philadelphia in decent shape. It's a shame because this 29D was beautiful, but it has a hole. But it is a 29D. And then this is a 29S. Might upgrade. Maybe it won't. As far as in the 30s, that's the nicest 1930. That's the nicest 1931S, I believe. And I thought it was pretty nice. I'll check it against my album. And then a pretty nice 1934, 39, and 36. Down here I have all of the better shape coins. Now there was a lot more like this, but I only kept the ones that I thought were more beautiful than what you'd normally find in a junk silver purchase. There are nicer ones in here, as you can see, but we'll keep those for the stream. Now on top of that, I did find a couple of other goodies. I have not looked at any of the Barber Dimes yet. After I clear this away, we'll check the dates. But I did have two seated Liberty Dimes. We had an 1890 that's slick as can be. That's pretty much coal. But this 1883, even though it's common, is in pretty good shape. Let me zoom in on it so you guys can appreciate it along with me. Was not expecting that one to be in there. That's not that bad overall. Probably right around fine 15. I'll take it. We've got good detail. And overall, not a bad dime as a bonus. Let me put all these back away and we'll do a live Barber Dime look together. Figured I would save you guys some minutes here. I went through these and filmed it on camera. There's nothing but common dates in here. And really nothing too spectacular. They're all coal or G4. There were a couple in here that I didn't have. There was an 1892 Philadelphia and a 1907S that I added to my album. But instead of leaving that clip in, I'm recording this after the fact and just letting you know, nothing really worth it getting excited about. Just a bunch of commons and or coal Barber Dimes, if you will. Still, I'm happy that I have them. I always like having Barber Dimes to give away during the stream. And like I said, I was able to upgrade 2 in my album. At the end of the day, I had a lot of fun hunting all of these Mercury Dimes, as well as the other silver I had. Unfortunately, no key dates, no semi-key dates, no varieties, nothing spectacular was found. But if you don't look, you can't find them. We didn't find anything this time. I'm still reeling about this 1916 possible Denver. Likely not, but man, what if it is? I'll be holding on to it just in case. Hopefully you enjoyed this junk silver purchase video with me. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy hunting, happy stacking, and thanks for watching.